You are listening to Specifically for Seniors, a podcast designed for a vibrant and diverse senior community. I'm your host, Dr. Larry Barsh. Join me and a lineup of experts as we discuss a wide variety of topics that will empower, inform, entertain, and inspire as we celebrate the richness and wisdom of this incredible stage of life.
Yes, you are listening to Specifically for Seniors, the podcast that celebrates the wisdom, wit, and willpower of older adults who refuse to sit quietly on the sidelines. Today's episode is a rich opportunity to spotlight the civic firepower of senior activism and the strategic brilliance behind We the Seniors, a grassroots movement that's proving age is not a limitation, but a launchpad for change. Our guests today, Mary Mulvihill and Judy Loeb, are the architects of this powerful network. Through weekly Zoom calls, postcard campaigns, rallies, and coalition building, they've mobilized thousands of older Americans to engage in meaningful, sustained political action. Their work has drawn speakers like Skye Perryman of Democracy Forward, activist Bill McKibben, Senator Cory Booker, Representatives Katie Porter, Liz Cheney, and Jen Johnson, not just to inform, but to inspire. Mary brings decades of organizing experience and a gift for turning civic frustration into coordinated action. She spent the first half of her career as an associate dean and professor at Fordham University's Business School, where she also taught. In the next chapter of her career, she turned her focus to revitalizing nonprofits, serving as executive director of two different nonprofits. Judy, a former regional director for Emily's List as a result of her anger over the Anita Hill hearings, and being a lifelong advocate, adds strategic depth and fundraising savvy to the mix. Together, they've built the platform We the Seniors that amplifies senior voices, connects communities across 15 states, and redefines what it means to age with agency. Whether you're a seasoned activist or just beginning to explore your civic power, this conversation will challenge assumptions, spark ideas, and remind us all that democracy thrives when seniors lead. Let's dive into their story, their mission, and the unstoppable force of senior volunteers. Welcome to Specifically for Seniors, Judy. Welcome to you as well, Mary.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. That was wonderful.
What I want to know is what sparked the creation of We the Seniors? Was there a particular moment or issue that galvanized you?
Actually, that's a very interesting question because we didn't start out with We the Seniors. We started out with Seniors Taking Action 7 years ago. And it was merely a group to get together, 15 people we started with, to write postcards. We were just two activists who wanted to get out there and do something politically. And when someone suggested postcards, I said, postcards? What is that? How do you do that? What is it? Does it do anything? And then I met someone who sat me down and she said, I'll tell you everything you need to know. So we started with 15 people at a coffee shop in New York City, and we just wrote postcards. That's all we did every week, wrote postcards and mailed them. And then COVID came. And when COVID came, you are not going to sit on a Zoom and write postcards. So we decided, what would we do to keep people together? So we started with a Zoom and then looked into how many speakers we could get who would join us. We never thought anyone would answer our calls or anything. So a number of people answered our calls and we started on Zoom. And you mentioned some of the speakers that we've had, and we've been very, very lucky in all the speakers we had. Not only do they animate us and energize us, they also inform us about the things that are going on. And at that point, we were still with our 15 people, but now we have 1,500 people. We're in 15 states around the country. And we do all the things that you just talked about, write letters to the editor, op-ed pieces. We go to all the demonstrations and do anything we can to get the vote out and get people animated about the election in 2026. In the course of doing all this, Judy and I met all these groups from around the country and said, they keep saying the answer to our problems now is the people in the streets. So we are the people in the streets. So we thought, well, what are we going to do? And we talked about getting all the seniors in the country together to speak as one voice. And so Judy and I started it, and here we are. Judy, you can continue about we the seniors.
Let's get back to the guests again.
Okay.
How do you curate? How do you find these speakers?
That is the funniest part of all of it. Okay. And so when we started out, I wanted to get one particular congressman in Brooklyn because I thought if we got him, then other people would come on. So we did. Oh God, what's his name?
Richie, was it Richie Torres or?
No, we got Richie Torres, but it was the one in Brooklyn. Anyway, he was fabulous and he came on, and then we just started calling people, and to our great surprise, they said yes. We did not do anything magical. We just called them. And I would say the funniest of all was Liz Cheney, when I said to everybody in our group, does anybody have a contact with Liz Cheney? And everybody said no. So then someone gave me an email, and the email was basically sally@lizcheney.com. I said, this is really going to get me nowhere. However, 2 months later, I get a call from Liz Cheney's office, and they said, oh, you wrote to us. We're sorry, so delayed in getting back to you. Yes, Liz Cheney will come on your Zoom.
That's terrific.
No, but it was not, we didn't, right, Judy? We didn't do anything fantastic. We just called people, and that's what we continue to do. And I have to say, people are very generous with their time and energy, and we have been, I think, quite lucky over the years with all the people that we've gotten on our Zoom.
I would just add to that we have a core group. Amongst the 1,500, we have a really dedicated group, and they've had incredible backgrounds, all pretty much retired now, but incredible backgrounds with lots of contacts. So we do get suggestions from members for speakers. And but following up on what Mary said, if we see somebody on television who we think is important, and that's what happened with Skye Perryman, for instance. I thought, well, she would be great on our Zoom. And I wrote to her. I saw an email for her. The most recent one, and we're very excited about this, I wrote to an email I found for Dr. Vin Gupta. And miraculously, he wrote back almost immediately and said, I'll be delighted to be on your Zoom. So some people we never hear from, but many we do. And so we've built this incredible list of past speakers.
What impact do these conversations have in your members?
I think I'll speak for myself, but I'll also, I guess, speak for all our members. I think they really energize them. And they also, they become much more informed about what's going on in the country. And that just energizes you to do more. You become much more enthusiastic about writing postcards or sending letters to the editor or attending the demonstrations. Instead of just sitting there writing postcards and nothing is happening, this is very energizing to everybody in our group.
Let's get back to talking about the postcards. I know a bunch of seniors that are very active in my community that are writing postcards. How does that work in the digital age?
I would say that it is one technique. Um, we work with four main providers of addresses. And we have somebody in our group who is two people actually who research which postcard campaigns we should join, and then help us get the addresses. And these individual groups like postcards to voters craft the messaging, and often we can work with them to tweak the messaging to make it stronger if we think so. But then we can download the addresses, and one very effective way we're doing this is that individual people hold postcard parties, because it's much better to get with a group of 6 or 8 friends and write postcards together. So Mary's hosted them. I've hosted them in my house. We have members all across the country who've had postcard parties, and we can turn out 100 to 500 postcards in an individual session. And we've written for Democratic candidates all over the country. We were very involved with the 2 Supreme Court races in Wisconsin, both of which were very successful. So, but postcards, you asked about in the digital age, is one quote touch. It's been shown that if a voter is touched different ways, and it could be by text, it could be by phone call, it could be by postcard, it could be by a door knock, 7 times before an election, they're far more likely to vote.
You mentioned that there were postcard groups, external postcard groups that help you find addresses. What are those?
Well, one is postcards to voters. Another is Activism
Field Team
America.
6, Tony the Democrat. Yeah. And when we
Right.
first started, I'm sorry, Judy, when we first started, we started Tony the
No, go ahead.
Democrat. But since then, there are these other postcard groups. And we have 2 women who run our postcarding, and they do a fabulous job. They know all the people who run these postcard groups, and they decide who will, like right now, we're writing a lot for Virginia and also in Philadelphia. So they decide, and they talk to our group about it, and we go from there. Did I leave anything out, Judy?
No, I would just say we've had, for instance, Tony the Democrat, who we never thought was a real person, is a real person.
6'4".
And and he leads this incredible postcard writing group, and he's come on our Zoom at
Right.
least twice. And, it talks to us about the methodology and how they get their, these are voter files that can be purchased, and how they get the names. And certain of these groups will actually segment, for instance, they might put aside 4,000 names for seniors taking action. And then we can monitor the totals as they go down. Like in the Virginia campaign now, I think they announced Wednesday that there's only 400 names left out of 4,000. So our members will quickly write some more.
Tony the Democrat. I know. It sounds like something out of The Sopranos.
Well, can I tell you a story about Tony the Democrat? Okay, first of all, I didn't believe he existed either until I met him, and he's like a 6'4" linebacker and a really, really, really nice guy. But what was the campaign we were doing in Georgia? And one of our members decided to do a special postcard with the Georgia Bulldog on the postcard, so that would encourage more people to read the postcard. Well, lo and behold, Tony said no, because you can never use the Bulldog. It will offend people. And Tony's from Georgia. So we immediately pulled the postcard and didn't use it. He's a very good guy. I like Tony a lot.
It's interesting because, as I mentioned, I am familiar with a couple of postcard groups in my location. And I have not heard any comments about Tony the Democrat. Is he someone worth contacting?
Yes. Yeah.
Definitely.
Do you have a contact?
And we can put you in contact, but I have a feeling if you Google Tony the Democrat, you'll come up with him. But we can certainly do an introduction. One other thing, a lot of these postcard groups provide postcards. And one thing we've learned is that if the postcard has a fabulous image on the front, a cartoon or a drawing, and we're very fortunate in that the husband of one of the two people who manage our postcard campaign is an incredible award-winning graphic artist. And he has designed, it's probably up to a dozen different postcards for us to use, and we use them all the time.
These are good pointers, and I'm sure the listeners who are involved in postcarding will take them to heart. So thank you. Can you define a specific moment where We the Seniors' efforts directly influenced a local and national outcome?
I would say that when we first started and there were only 15 people at the table, and it was the Supreme Court race in Wisconsin, and we were writing specifically for that race with Tony the Democrat. And when that candidate won, I think that secured everyone to continue writing postcards with us. And that was back when we first started. So it was 2019. And I remember myself sitting at the table thinking, oh my God, we wrote those postcards and the person actually won. Are you kidding me? But that was one of the real defining moments. But we've had many others since then. But now there are many more postcard writers too.
I just want to offer a distinction because the postcarding activity is part of Seniors Taking Action, which, as Mary said, has been around for 7 years. And Seniors Taking Action is now one of the 44 groups that are part of We the Seniors. So We the Seniors is an umbrella group. We don't what we exist for is to provide a megaphone and coordinate messages for all these groups. We don't want to interfere in any way with what the individual groups are doing because they're all doing extraordinary work. Yesterday, I had a long conversation with the leader of one of our groups on Long Island, Daniel Stein, who runs a group called Democracy Forward Long Island, and not affiliated with Skye, but very aware of her efforts. And they have embarked on a campaign to register and get mail-in ballots to the people early, particularly since there's a very large Hispanic population on the eastern end of Long Island, and they're concerned that these people will not want to go to the polls. So they are doing an incredible campaign. And so each group of the 44 is doing its own work. What We the Seniors has started to do is call-in campaigns. So we're using an app called 5 Calls. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that, but we're working directly with their leadership to craft campaigns. We did the first one, I guess about 10 days ago, and it was about Medicare and the fact that there is an act called PAYGO that if the Medicaid cuts reach a certain level, I think it's 500 million or something, it's automatically triggered that Medicare will be cut. So we crafted messaging, worked with 5 Calls, and started a campaign with 4 days really notice. And every day we would send a graphic and a message out to all the We the Seniors groups and all the hundreds of individuals who've now joined We the Seniors. And Mary and I looked at each other and we said, this is really unlikely. This is a far reach. If we got 500 people to call their congressmen and senators, we would be blown away. Well, 5,243 people made the calls. So we were staggered, and I cannot believe that didn't have a major effect, because these people were getting calls repeatedly. So we now have 2 more campaigns going, and one about Robert Kennedy and trying to get him impeached or fired, and the other one also about Medicare. So we're going to continue this effort, because it seems to really kind of motivate.
And I'll tell you one other story about We the Seniors. In the course of trying to get groups to join us, we met Carl. And Carl is in an independent living facility. And he has a group of seniors. I think he has 100 seniors in his group. But he wanted to connect with other people so he could have a louder voice. And he has now decided, and he's already started doing it, he's trying to find all these independent programs and see independent facilities and see how many people will join We the Seniors, because he feels just like we do. There are tons of seniors out there who want to do more and would really like to speak as one voice, so we can have some kind of influence on what is going on when, we're the largest voting bloc, and we just feel that the seniors can make it all happen.
But how do we get the message out to the people on the other side of the aisle?
Mary and I learned an interesting thing. People over 65, there were 62 million people over 65. It's the largest growing demographic in the country. They expect that seniors will be 80 million in not a very long time. And we vote, so 75% of seniors actually vote. What was distressing was to learn that Trump won the senior vote by 3 to 5% in the last election. So we feel if we could reach through education and information seniors around the country who possibly now, and I think probably, are very dismayed with what Trump's doing with Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, as well as the deportations, which are going to be very harmful to senior living facilities and nursing homes and hospitals. It's very endangering. I can't believe that a lot of those people won't have buyer's remorse, but we feel it's our mission to put the information out there and get it to as many seniors as possible.
No, as you're describing this, I was going to ask you, how do you keep members engaged across 15 plus states? But you're doing more than that. You seem to be working, I don't know how many hours in the day you guys have.
Well, what can I say? I mean, first of all, we're very animated we're energized by what is going on in the country. And we feel every day we want to do more and more. And then we have all these people who show up for these Zoom meetings who want to do more and more. I have to say, we were so inspired by the 5 calls, to have all those people calling in. And it was just a very simple thing that we did, and very, very quickly. Judy, what did you say? 4 days, we put it all together and sent it out. And I do think there are a lot of people sitting around saying, what can I do? What can I do? And if there's anybody on this call who wants to join us, please join us, because the more seniors we have, the more powerful we can be, and the more we can make change.
How do they contact you to join in? Or do they have to call Carl?
So Judy, we'll give the www.seniorstakingaction.org. And then the other one is www.wethesenior.
No, there's a. See,
we're so new at this. We don't even know what it is, but sorry.
Mary gave you the web address, the URL for Seniors Taking Action. And right now, there is all the speakers and all the information about Seniors Taking Action is on that website. We also have a dedicated page to We the Seniors. So there is a sign up at the back of the Seniors Taking Action URL, which again is seniorstakingaction.org, and they can reach us that way. We also have an email address for We the Seniors, which is We the Seniors USA at Gmail. So they can reach us that way. And we're in the process of building a new website for We the Seniors. And so that'll be up in the next month, I would think. And then we'll be able to have all the groups featured. We're going to do a group a month and spotlight their work. So it's all very exciting, but those are the best ways that they can reach us.
We talked about postcarding, marches, rallies, protests. How do you balance digital organizing with boots on the ground activism and postcard? How do you do all this?
No, Judy. Well, we live in New York City, so there's a lot of activity going on all the time. People come to write postcards. Well, they don't just come to the Zoom to write postcards, but they know to write postcards when they go to parties or they have groups at their house or they just do it individually. As far as the demonstrations are concerned, like the next demonstration coming up, the big one, the No Kings, is October 18th. And so we just, everybody wants to go to the demonstrations. The demonstrations also get you excited about what you're doing because you see all these other people there who feel the same way you do. And we've been to all the demonstrations in New York City, and none of them are violent in any way. There's no nastiness. You've been to them too, Judy. They're wonderful to go to because they just get you excited about moving for, doing more and doing more and more. So, and there's a lot of seniors at the demonstrations, that's for sure.
Yeah, I was going to say that the preponderance of people at these demonstrations are older Americans.
With signs?
Yes.
Whoa, absolutely.
Wait, Judy, what was that one? The best one that I think I ever saw was, please don't take Medicare away. Please don't take Medicare away. I do not want my mother-in-law living with me. That was the best. I keep waiting for one that was better than that. So, and they're funny. They do, that's the other thing. There's a lot of humor so that you don't feel this anger as you're, walking around.
That's important.
And I think Mary raises an important point in that community is one of the most important things. So when you're at a march with, thousands and thousands of other people, you feel, that you're in the same community and with like-minded people. The same thing on our Zoom calls and the same thing on our We the Seniors communications. People feel part of something. And I mentioned that hundreds and hundreds of individuals have contacted us who've heard about We the Seniors, and they're all over the country. And they say often, I don't want to be alone. I'm so glad to hear about this group. I'm so glad to get your communications. I feel like I'm part of something.
How do people get involved in the Zoom calls?
Actually, that's very easy. Go ahead, Judy. I'm sorry.
If they just would sign up on the seniorstakingaction.org, if they go to the website, and sign up, they then would get our weekly newsletter. And in the weekly newsletter is the upcoming speaker for the following week and often for the future weeks. And if they sign up on that website, we will be sending them the Seniors Taking Action newsletter every Monday. Goes out at 10 a.m. usually on Monday mornings. And it has all the information not only about the speakers, but for instance, we will do everything we can to publicize the march that Mary mentioned and try to get all our members around the country to find the march in their area, We've actually had Leah Greenberg, the co-founder of Indivisible, on our Zoom. So we're actually a part of Indivisible. We are a group of Indivisible. So we take our information from them and then publicize it.
You mentioned 5 calls. I've tried to get them on the podcast with no success at all. If you can put in a good word,
Yes.
we
Absolutely.
because I think it's probably one of the easiest ways to contact representatives and members of Congress. And I think
we would definitely do that. I think we actually we've been working with Rebecca Kaufman, who is one of the founders or leaders, but we have 5 calls coming on our Zoom in a few weeks. I don't remember the date off the top of my head, and I'm not sure which one of their people will be our speaker, but I'm happy to invite you, and I'm also happy to connect you to them.
Fantastic, great. Are you working just with seniors, or do you work with some younger activists as well?
No, Judy.
Mary?
Well, I mean, here's the thing. I would say, yes, we basically work with seniors, but we are not saying that we don't want to work with young people. We all have children and grandchildren who are old enough to vote. And of course, we go after them all the time. I come from a very large family, and they're all, can vote, and I'm after them all the time. And they're young, they're in their 20s and 30s. And we have welcomed young people to our group. So it's not that we are, and we also have one group called We the Seniors, the Grandparent Connection. And they do a lot of work with seniors and grandchildren. And we are also featuring seniors and grandchildren on Instagram. So we're just putting together a program, which Barbara is going to lead, having, seniors talk to their grandchildren about what is going on. So that's what we're trying to do. So if you have any ideas for us, we would be open to them.
Well, specifically for seniors, has tried to do some intergenerational activities as well. It's tough.
It is tough, and it's also last cycle before this last election, we really focused on youth voting, and we had many people on the Zoom, young people on the Zoom who were either electeds or leading organizations. Matter of fact, we're very proud that Maxwell Frost was on our Zoom as he was running to be elected, and he's now the youngest member of Congress from Florida. But we've had many, many youth leaders, people from Parkland who were part of that horrific shooting, and people running Get Out the Vote organizations focused on youth. I have to say, we were disappointed. We really thought that young people would make a difference in the last election, and what happened is they voted in record numbers for the Republicans and for Trump. So at this point, we're not giving up, but we feel if we can turn some of the senior voters who voted for Republicans back to Democrats, or have them vote for Democrats, that might be a more fruitful way to use our efforts.
Why do you think they turned to Trump? Was it the messaging, the type of messaging, the platforms that we used?
Well,
I think you go, Mary.
A lot of people say that, he's such a macho guy, and that's why they like him, and he speaks out and he doesn't take anything from anyone. It's a big disappointment, because it's not that people are saying to you, oh, because of this particular issue, that particular issue. They're identifying him as a guy who can take on the world. I don't know if that's right or wrong, but that's a lot of the stuff that I read in the media. I would like to know why, but I don't know if we know. Judy, what do you think?
Well, I would add that it's their main issue is affordability and the economy. And I think Democrats perhaps thought that they would be motivated by climate change and social issues. And in fact, they were motivated more by the economy and affordability and the fact that they graduate from college and it's harder to get a job and it's certainly harder to get an apartment or buy a house. So that's one important thing. But it makes me think of yesterday's horrendous shooting of Charlie Kirk. And you look at the young people at that university, as far as the eye can see, of people who were, for the most part, Charlie Kirk supporters. And there was community there. I think he provided a sense of belonging and a sense of purpose. And I think that's very attractive to young people now who are feeling a bit lost.
But the message he provides is not exactly
Absolutely. We
a
agree.
gentle message.
No, we agree with you. And certainly in the second administration, it's been horrific.
I know at least one of my grandsons is a big fan of Madami in New York, which is interesting as well. And I don't know if it's the platform or the fact that he's young, vocal, and almost behaves the same way as some of the Republican activists who are young. Different message, but the same projection.
Well, he's very charismatic. He led with an economic message, and that resonated with a lot of young people. And, it's all about affordability. And he's a great messenger. It's going to be very interesting because Trump is clearly putting his thumb on the scale to try to get Adams out and bolster Cuomo. So we're going to see. I think it's going to backfire.
It's interesting. I'm sorry, Judy, but I agree with what you've said. One of my daughters is a big Mamdani fan, and she says because he's speaking to the issues that really count, which is affordability, all this stuff about having free buses and subways and so forth. She said even if it doesn't happen, he is messaging in the right direction. So that's what, and she says that's what all her friends are saying.
Yeah, I'm finding the same thing, and I wonder if the Democrats have to learn a little bit rather than not endorsing him. I'm wondering if they have to learn something about style and message.
We would agree.
So,
especially messaging.
And how he messages. If there were one issue, and only one issue, you could issue a call to action for seniors, what would it be?
Oh boy.
Anything?
I'll take a stab because being seniors, we've lived a very long time. Mary and I are both over 80. We've lived through a lot, and there have been hard times before, but we revere what this country has been about. And we care so deeply about democracy and freedom of speech and all the traditions of this country. And I think because we've been around so long, we feel that perhaps more strongly than younger generations. So I think to me, it's about protecting what this country was and the pain of seeing it torn apart and our primacy in research and medicine being just squandered. Our primacy around the world in providing aid is being destroyed. That just hurts. So that would be my main issue, I think.
Well, mine
Mary,
would be
what do
very
you
similar
think?
to yours. I mean, I like the idea that we're trying to get all the seniors around the country to get out, to vote, to write postcards. to go to demonstrations and so forth. And if we could get all this, because the seniors are the ones who really understand the situation in this country. As Judy said, we have lived through all these things that have happened in the past, and we have survived. Right now, there's an awful lot going on, and the seniors understand it, and they also value democracy. I sometimes think that the younger people don't understand it, and they say, well, what are you talking about? Democracy all the time. But so if Judy and I can get all the seniors in the country to get out and vote in 2026, so that we get the House and the Senate back. I would like to get that. You asked for a dream. I would like to get the House and the Senate back, and then we could actually really get some things done.
Larry, it's also by being on a podcast like yours, I think is just going to be a huge help in getting our message out and getting people to join us.
Yes, I agree. And that's what we've been trying to, and we were so excited when you invited us on because this is one way to get the message out. I'm sure there are many seniors listening to us now looking for something to do. And when you become a part of a group, you really feel like you can do something. And with our group in particular, we really like when people join us and they say, what about this? What about that? How can you do this? And all those suggestions, we always take them to heart. And in many instances, we follow through with them.
So are there any upcoming campaigns or initiatives that you're excited about?
Well, I would say the 5 calls is the biggest thing right now. Wouldn't you, Judy?
Yeah, I would. And we're starting the Robert Kennedy campaign on Monday. That's going to go out. Actually, the messaging is already up on 5 calls. But for us to be able to talk to our members about it, we're going to start on Monday with our introductory graphic, and then work towards Wednesday or Thursday to be the day to have everybody call. And then I think, as Mary said, the No Kings demonstration, that's going to be a big focus. If we can get all our members to show up at their individual protests, we're having We the Seniors hats made. I want to have a We the Senior banner that we can carry, at least in New York, and maybe others will do the same. So I think those are the 2 big things coming up.
And we want people to continue writing postcards, especially for Virginia.
Right.
Okay, let's go over this again. How does someone become involved? Let's specify the web URL and membership, and maybe even starting a new chapter.
Okay.
So seniorstakingaction.org is our URL, and that will take you to our website, and you can click to sign up. And it's your name, your email address. We monitor that very carefully, and we send a message to everybody welcoming them. And if they are a group, we add them to the We the Seniors groups. If they're an individual, they can join We the Seniors, but they can also receive the Seniors Taking Action newsletter every Monday. And the other way is to email us at WeTheSeniorsUSA@gmail.com. And either of those ways will get to Mary and me and people we're working with, and we will respond.
Now, say a group in a senior community wants to join as a group, and there are 5 or 20 seniors who are interested in maybe starting their own group. How do they do that?
Mm-hmm.
But they do it the same way. They contact, first of all, right. I mean, Judy, you correct me, contact us. I'll give you an example. There was a group here in New York City, down by the Battery, and they heard about us. And the woman called and she said to me, could you come and speak to our group? So since it's in New York, I went down and I spoke to them twice, and we worked out all the things that they're going to do. And there were 55 of them who are in this senior community and had started stuff, but they didn't know really what they wanted to do. And the next thing you know, at the We Kings thing, they demonstrated in front of their facility and all had signs and everything else. And also, in addition, they also contacted the local newspapers here in New York and got some coverage. So, we'll do anything to help any groups who would love to join us. Because last night, Judy, I was with some people, and one woman said to me, "Oh my God, my brother is starting a group in Philadelphia." Do you know he wrote to me this morning? He said, "I want to hear about this." Right.
Oh,
he said,
great.
"I have 75 people. I want to hear about your group." So, we're out advertising all the time, but you never know what's going to happen. But I do think Judy is absolutely right. We all want community. And if you can feel you're part of a group, and if you feel that your voice will be heard, if you have some ideas and things that you want to have happen, and we are open all the time. And I would guarantee anybody who writes us today, they will get our email in the mail on Monday when we mail it out, because we immediately put the people on the list. And if anyone calls us, we immediately respond, because we want everybody to get involved. And the easier as we all know, the easier you make it for people to get involved, the better.
I would just add, Mary and I have been invited to go to a very, very large senior living facility in New Jersey. And we're going on September 30th. We expect to have at least 100 to 200 people there, because they have a very active Democratic contingent. And they host speakers, and they write postcards, and they go to demonstrations. And they've invited us to hear more about We the Seniors. I have no doubt that they will become a new group for us. So, we can't go to California, but we can certainly go if it's nearby and speak. And if it is in California, we have people there we could, hook them up with.
Or you could do a Zoom call.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
That's true.
Exactly.
To a
That's right.
group.
Right.
Yes.
Anything we missed? Anything else you'd like to comment on?
I would just like to say to any seniors out there listening, we want to save our democracy. We want our country to continue the way it was. I'm very upset that we may not be number one in the world. And I think the seniors are the ones that can make this happen. So I would suggest to all of you, please join us if you can. We would love to have you join us. And if not, get your groups organized wherever you are and get that vote out. The most important thing is for us to get that vote out and not to be stymied by any of the interferences that may occur at that time. So we have to be hard and hardy as we move forward, because we can save the country, I think. Is that too preposterous to say, Judy, that we can say seniors can save the country?
No, I think. And nobody should be intimidated if we have one group that has 3 people. We have other groups
Right.
that have thousands. So if it's just you and a couple of friends who want to be a group, and you join each other to go to a protest or write postcards, we want you
And
to be
I
part
have
of
to
these.
say, just on that note about having a small group, like Susan Troy from Montana, she has a very small group. She's one of the most vocal people in our community. And she always is coming up with good ideas. So every single voice is welcome. Judy and I love to talk to people. So,
Judy, Mary, this has been delightful. I hope we can get some members for you. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
well, thank you. This was wonderful. You made it so easy and comfortable and welcoming. So thank you very much. And we'd love to come back.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
If you found this podcast interesting, fun, or helpful, tell your friends and family, and click on the follow or subscribe button. We'll let you know when new episodes are available. You've been listening to Specifically for Seniors. We'll talk more next time. Stay connected.